Hello everybody. I want to talk a little bit more about how you can start to introduce a little bit more of a conscious application of your half-halting. And I've already started some videos that show how you can do it in the walk, the posting, trot, and in the canter. And now I want to just wrap it up just by saying, okay, so the sitting trot is another important part of all of this, where you can just tune into a little bit more into your own aid system and how your horse responds to it. And it's not like going to be something completely different than what I already talked about. So obviously the half-halt always consists of those three components: the driving with your lower leg mostly and following with your seat, the inhibiting mostly from your knee closure and a little bit from your rein aids, and the tension that you're creating and releasing in your core, from mostly hopefully coming from your psoas muscles and all those good things. And in the trot, the best way to go about this, to explore this or just tune into it when you're not quite familiar with it or you haven't thought about it in these terms, is to go and put yourself into just a normal, regular, somewhat measured working trot. And I'm going to do this with Thana, and Thana is a little bit older, so she has a kind of not like a too pronounced trot movement anymore. And so you can do this with any horse, really. It doesn't matter what kind of trot they have, right? But think about the working trot as the trot that you have when your horse is warmed up, in the posting trot, and that feels as if you can, from that rhythm and that tempo of this trot and that level of relaxation, that you could either shorten the stride a little bit or lengthen it. So it's sort of that happy golden middle of the trot variety. And that's your basis to start out with, right? And I'm going to go and just put Thana into, like I said, a somewhat measured working trot here. Just trying to kind of find our perfect little, rhythm, relaxation. And it's a little bit, I kind of feel it's like not quite as relaxed as I would like it to be. So I'm going to work on it for a moment here. But then I'm just going to go with it and say, okay, this is where we're at today. There you go. There's a nice little stretch forward, downward into my hands. And now I'm going to increase my knee pressure, put my lower legs a little bit farther back, and even might take up my hands a little bit higher and shorten the stride. And this is half-halting, 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 half-halting every stride. Now I'm going to let my legs go more forward into neutral or driving position here, and let her have her regular working trot again for a few strides, right? Now, knee pressure increases, lower legs farther back, hands give these tiny little vibrational sort of exclamation points about saying, here is where the half-halt is happening. And I'm going to relax my legs, relax my knee pressure, swing freely with my middle so that she can actually, use her back in a nice and comfortable way. And I'm going to do it one more time here. Knee pressure, hands slightly raised, little vibrational input from the lower leg. And you have a little bit of a shortened stride combined with Thana looking at the cows in the far end there. And then that's pretty much it. So that's how you can start. It's pretty much like a nicely orchestrated set of transitions within a gait, within the sitting trot in this case, where you can just say to yourself, without going to your hands first and say, I must make my horse, shorter in the frame or shorter in the stride, try to think of it in a different order. If ultimately these things have to happen really quickly and almost simultaneously in short succession. But while you're experimenting with your seat, the elements of your seat and your lower leg and your knee closure, think the hands are the least important part of it all. They just come up because, depending on your horse's conformation, it's a little bit easier sometimes for the horse to feel the bit in the mouth at a tiny little bit of a different angle, so that they can feel invited to come up and lift a little bit higher in the front as they're trying to take more weight up in the hind end. And all of these things are so subtle and barely visible, if at all, in the beginning. But I want you to become more conscious and more aware of these little finely tuned elements, even in a regular, not in a spectacular way, and just enjoy how you can say to your horse different things. And always remember, the horse is so willing and so happy and so generous to work with us. And for us to say, yes, we're trotting together, but then the horse basically says, okay, we're trotting, and now what? And you're saying, oh, and I would like this kind of trot right now for a few steps, and now I would like this kind of trot. And that's what makes it really, really interesting for the horse too. And that's where ultimately, once you practice this and you become more and more fluid, both of you, the horse and you, in your riding and in your application of your aids, this becomes sort of like a way of moving in absolute harmony with one another, which is like such a miracle over and over every day. I think that. And you end up having a motivated horse that you're going to ride and that loves to be ridden by you, and that is a jubilant spirit when you're in the arena. And that is ultimately what we're always aiming for, you know, is the joy of it all. And not just like this drilling technical stuff, which is part of it, but not the be all or whatever that is. That's not the ultimate thing anyway. Thanks so much for watching. Happy riding and have a great day. And thank you, Thana. All right.